Mugen TV Game Reviews.
2020 marks Xenoblade Chronicles 2's 3-year anniversary with nearly 2 million units sold. This game proves that it's no longer a niche series and definitely deserves to be recognized as a JRPG giant among the rest. The story follows a 15-year-old boy named Rex, who is the salvager of Allrest, and dreams of one day visiting a place called Elysium. Through legends and folktales, it is said that Elysium can be found on top of the World Tree. His wish finally comes true when he's hired by a group of mysterious figures who needs Rex to use his salvaging skills in order to gain access to a sunken titan that is said to have something of importance to them. There he meets Nia, and who is accompanied by her blade named Dromark. He eventually stumbles upon a mysterious woman encased alongside her blade known as the Aegis. Not knowing what he's gotten himself into, he is now killed by the people who hired him to begin with. But all is not lost. He wakes up in a place that looks like Elysium and is greeted by an Aegis named Pyra. She gives Rex half of her core crystal in order to revive him, as they are now linked together. She requests that Rex takes her to Elysium so he can meet her father, who is known as the Creator. Rex wakes up with newfound abilities and sets off on a journey to the World Tree. The story to this game on the surface may sound simplistic, but I won't spoil any other plot points because the story definitely unfolds into something much bigger and more complex, to the point that it's invigorated my passion for JRPGs once again. The visuals is one of Xenoblade Chronicles 2's strong points. Since the Nintendo Switch isn't as powerful as its competitors such as the Xbox One and the PS4, Monolith saw the decision to go with a more anime cel shade like visuals that will allow this game to stand the test of time. Each of the various different locations has its own unique field accompanied by an amazing soundtrack. My favorite location is the Lutherian Archipelago. The music is so beautiful and soothing, which complements this location perfectly. It's like you're walking through the clouds of heaven itself. The exaggerated expressions of each character really helps drive the narrative and motivation of each character. Specifically, each cutscene you feel what the characters are trying to express to one another. I often find myself feeling emotions of sadness during tragic moments and anger when a specific antagonist does something heartless. The only real gripe I have is the game's inconsistent performance in terms of its frame rate. The game runs at 30 frames per second and occasionally dips to 25 to 20 frames when too much stuff is happening on the screen at once. Overall, I believe that it's something that won't ruin your complete experience with the game. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 follows the same open world formula as the first game. The people of this world inhabit huge creatures known as Titans. Each Titan has their own unique characteristics that range from grasslands, industrial, snow mountains, and many more to discover. The game encourages extreme exploration that is completely open to the player to discover and how to reach specific locations. What's good about this is the game rewards you by giving specific resources and stumbling upon items that you may not have found throughout your playthrough. There are hardly any load times when traversing these huge titans unless you're entering a battleship, dungeon, or factory. Like most massive open world games, questing is essential to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 gameplay, so strap up because there are a ton of quests to be found in this game. There are NPCs littered throughout towns, dungeons, and open fields who are waiting for you to help them with whatever task that needs to be undergone. Luckily, there's a quest book that allows you to keep tabs on what quests are completed or have yet to be completed. If you're a completionist, then you will be happy to know that you have your work cut out for you because there is a lot to digest here. The game also has a day and night system, so expect certain quests to be affected by this mechanic. Resource management is another key gameplay component to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The materials can be exchanged for other items at shops and even quests, which grants you rare items and blades that will help you along the way. Another interesting mechanic is salvaging. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 take advantage of Rex's salvaging capabilities that allows players to dive beneath the surface to find rare items and resources. Depending on your inputs, it affects what Rex will find during his salvaging ventures. Cylinders also help increases your chances of finding rare goods during your salvaging adventure. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 combat is where the game shines most. There's a lot to digest here. At the beginning of the game, its combat seems really slow and not much involved. But as you progress through the game's chapters, the game continues to throw more mechanics to expand on the combat. In order to explain how it works, you need to understand the lore behind drivers and blades. In Xenoblade Chronicles 2, individuals who come into contact with a core crystal will awaken a being known as a blade. Each blade has their own unique characteristics and personality. The individual who awakens the blade are known as the driver. The blade themselves come with a weapon that represents their physical power. The driver uses their weapon in combat, and the blade shares their power with their driver. It's the bond between the blade and the driver which makes them strong. Each party member has their own special blades specifically suited for them, while on the other hand, you can find core crystals through exploration, questing, and story-specific core crystals given to you throughout the story progress. Once you find a core crystal, you can select which party member can awaken the core crystal. The way this mechanic works is like a gacha system or opening a booster pack from a trading card game. What class of blade you awaken is random. The blade classes ranges from sword, disc, cannons, katanas, knuckles, and more. Once a party member is awakening a blade, it's forever attached to them and can't be given to any other player unless you have a specific item to remove them. There are common blades, rare blades, and legendary blades. The common blades are generic black and white looking sentient beings equipped with a weapon of a specific element, while rare and legendary blades are given a special cinematic upon awakening them. One of the rarest blades of them all is none other than Cosmos herself, which is a 1% chance of awakening her. You have to see some of the reaction videos of players luckily awakening her on YouTube. I think it's quite unique and I think it's quite hype and exciting. As mentioned before, blades are beings with personality, and what's unique about this is that the rare blades oftentimes come with story quests of their own in order to get a bit of a backstory of their character. Some blades can only be earned through questing, which is more of an incentive for you to go out and start questing. Not only that, blades also have special abilities that aid in exploration, like translating ancient texts, opening locked doors, and more. But let's talk about the combat. As you progress through the game, you can equip up to 3 blades at a time. You can switch between the blades to chain attacks to increase damage. Depending on what blade you have equipped, you can level up your blade to level 3 to unleash a much more powerful attack if the conditions are met. To get a level 4, the driver and blade must be in close proximity to one another to unleash a cinematic attack. Understanding the elements of each enemy and utilizing different elements of your party's blades is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the complex combat system. There are literally videos upon videos on how to be most effective in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 combat system. It would be too much to explain in this review. The combat is auto attack, where your party automatically attacks while you press specific buttons assigned to your blade's special ability. Blades that you aren't using, you can send them on special mercenary missions which allow them to gain specific abilities and bring back resources for your party. Each character has their own skill tree along with their blades. One specific character lacked the ability to become a driver, so instead created an artificial blade that required its own upgrading mechanic separate from the traditional methods of being a driver. There are also character-specific foods that help enhance the character's abilities and performance during combat. There are a ton of different features and mechanics to learn in this game. The good thing is, this game literally has a community of players who take this game's combat seriously. A ton of players have guides and blade tier lists for you to consume if you're interested in wanting to get the most out of this game. Overall, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a visually appealing game with a rich and complex story which encompasses hours within the base game with ton of content that have you crunching over 100 hours of gameplay. That's right, it took me 100 hours to beat the game, and that's without doing every quest or awakening every rare and legendary blade. Despite the occasional frame rate dip, hard to read map, and sometimes cringy English dub, There's a ton to enjoy here. I give this game an 8 out of 10. If you enjoy this review, I definitely advise you to subscribe. Stay tuned for more reviews that I have in the upcoming future. There's also a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 expansion called The Golden Country of Torna, which I will be reviewing and will be uploaded on the channel. So make sure you hit the bell to be notified for when that's ready. This is MugenLord signing off. See you Game Fiends later. Peace out.